How you doing, YouTube? This guy. His name's Matt. Does the Master Beer Review thing. Hey, how about that? Who would have thunk it? Yeah, beer reviews. Good times. Seriously. What do we have here? We have a little bit of Florida-born, Belgian-influenced hopeful goodness in the form of Barrel Monks Brewing's Dubbel. So we got to talk about a couple things before I dive into this beer. First things first, Barrel Monks. They sent me this beer. Thank you very much, guys. They sent me a box of beers. I reviewed a couple of their beers, and they just kind of just sent me them off. Not for a review. They're like, hey, man, just enjoy them. We just appreciate the take you do on beer, so I appreciate that. So, but I review everything, so yeah. Second off, Ralph, thank you very much for introducing me to Barrel Monks. I'm having a really good time kind of working through their beers. Belgian beers really do it for me. So to actually kind of dive into a bunch of American-born Belgians, it's like kind of one of my favorite things to do. So thank you very much, dude. And 3, Dubbel. I call it Dubbel. A lot of people out there in the world float around and call it a Dubbel. That shit infuriates me. Why? Okay. You know what I mean? As somebody, I'm not a pronunciation Nazi. I'm not a kind of whatever you want to call it, stickler for this, that, and the other thing. I say random weird shit all the time. But I find it weird. I can never do that because I feel like I'm being unauthentic when I say Dubbel. Because, do you know what I mean? I don't know, man. Like, if I were to sit here and if I was drinking a beer, but I had a cigarette, or I wanted to go on an elevator, or I wanted to do whatever, I wouldn't use weird English slang. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be like, if I said aluminum, I'm not going to say aluminium. I'm not going to say, if I have binoculars, I'm not going to say binoculars. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to say Dubbel, not Dubbel. And that shit drives me insane. So a little weird mini diatribe kind of going into this thing. So, yeah. For those that kind of bitch and moan about me saying things, I kind of care because I'm bitching about it, but at the same time, whatever. As far as what it says in this bottle. Anyway, Barrel Monks Brewing, Abbey, Terno, Dubbel, Belgian-inspired ale. Down here, 7.5% alcohol by volume, 2017. This beer is bottle condition. On the side here, it says, out of our passion for beer made by monks in Belgium was born Barrel Monks Brewing. Barrel Monks Brewing was started by 3 good friends who share a common love of Belgian ales. It goes through kind of talking about what they put into beers and that be that. So there's nothing beer specific about the Dubbel on here. Otherwise I'd read it. But label-wise, I kind of dig it. I kind of like this kind of, you can see here it's one label, but it kind of breaks up and kind of connects and breaks up and connects and stuff like that. So I kind of dig it. So there we go. Beer and beer. There's a little like cheater little tab here. I didn't see that last time I opened one of their beers, so I feel like maybe I'll actually get this. Brute force that shit. There we go. We're not putting on airs here. We're drinking beer. Look at this. We got this nice, tall, kind of geometric wine glassy thing. It's a new glass. It was purchased for me by my future wife today. She gave it to me as a surprise. And it reminds me a lot of, if you actually see, a lot of times I do sour reviews. I use a Trillium kind of sour stem glassware. It's pretty much the same shape, just a little bit different. So I kind of dig it. So yeah. Anyway, what do we have here? That is called Gravity Defying. Creaminess there, but it's ending up on top of a really rocky, crumbling kind of head to it. It's got your kind of tight, compact bubbles in the bottom, but everything above it is kind of just kind of crumbling on top of itself. Is that a good or a bad thing? I don't think it's either. For a Belgian beer, you almost want it to have a little bit more kind of retention to it, but yeah, soft murkiness to it. I like my doubles to be a bit more muddled, a bit more hazy. She has a bit of haze to her, nothing too crazy though. So, yeah, she's coming more like iced tea vibes than kind of like Amish country apple cider. If that makes any sense. If you do the powdered iced tea thing, that's kind of where this is landing. I want that Amish apple cider kind of murk to it. So, is that too kind of local, colloquial, whatever the hell word you want to call it. I don't know, but she looks nice. Let's see what she has to offer in the nose. There's a little bit of like almost like a bright floralness, and I honestly think I'm getting like iced tea vibes from this. Again, planting seeds in your brain, that goes a long way. But I feel like I'm getting like tea vibes from it. I'm getting a little bit of floralness from it. Not getting too much sweetness from it. Nothing too crazy. Floral, herbal, almost like hop-driven stuff. Almost smells more like a kind of really low ABV watered-down barley wine than it does an actual Belgian kind of double. And that's it. That's all I'm getting from it. It's kind of weird, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to dive right into see what she's got. Cheers. Okay. I'm getting that Belgian candied sugar thing, but I'm getting it more like the first Barrel Monks beer I had. The first one I had from them was their Grand Cru. I went into it assuming it was going to be like a Belgian quad or dark or something like that, but it ended up being a barley wine. And the things that I kind of knocked it for, and this is me nitpicking because of how much I love Belgian beers, was that it lacked Belgian soul. And it tasted like the Belgian candy sugar came off a little bit too more brown sugary, and the yeast didn't carry the day on it. I'm getting a lot of this from this beer. And that's actually going from a couple of their beers into this. I actually ended up kind of like having the next beer I had was admittedly a barrel-aged beer. I didn't talk about the barreling on it. That wasn't written on the beer, but I really did enjoy it. And they omitted the barreling on it, so that's just me missing the mark on that one. But at the same time, I really enjoyed the beer and I liked it. And then moving on from that, I actually went into, I believe it was a barrel-aged, Cabernet barrel-aged triple. I did like an homage review between that and my dog Bisto. It was kind of, I posted that. And then I did their stout. I forget the name of it, but a Belgian-inspired stout. And that thing was crazy good. And it came off so Belgian authentic. I was blown away by it. It was one of the better beers I've had in quite a while. This one's a bit of a step back for me. It's not bad. It's tasty. But I'm not getting much yeast character to it. I'm getting a little bit of like a date figgy thing. Is that the yeast or the sugar? Could be both. But it's coming off kind of watered down and not as rounded as I want it to be. Mouth feels nice. The malt's coming off kind of uninspiring. It's a nice beer. It's not a bad beer at all by any stretch of the imagination. It just lacks something for me. I just want a bit more to it. I want a little bit more kind of fruit character from the yeast. I want a little bit more of that candy sugar to come off kind of authentic, a little bit more rounded and rich. I want the body to be a little bit more dense, a little bit more fluffy. Is that me kind of wanting the aspects of an already aged Belgian beer? It might be. Especially when I get into Belgian beers, a lot of times those beers are several years old. If not 1 or 2 years old, several. It's just the way it worked back in the day. You're talking about, right around the turn of the millennium, right around like 99, 2000, if you got a Westmalle or a Rochefort or a Chimay or a Westfalen, it was most likely sitting around for a couple years. So you ended up kind of lucking in, or as I view it, lucking in to having this kind of rounded, robust character to it. So that's kind of where I kind of nailed down this kind of what beer's supposed to be or what beer's supposed to taste like kind of mindset. Getting a beer from Florida that is probably less than 6 months old, is it more my brain being wrong about what it should be, or is it more an Americanized version of Belgian? Having the beers that I've had from them, I kind of think it's somewhere in between. I think it's a little bit of both. Some have really done it for me. Some have been a little bit too green. Not green hop-wise, but just green as far as age. So, obviously, you know what I mean? Some of the beers I've had from these guys have really done it for me. This one and the Grand Cru, while still tasty beers, just lack a little bit of depth for me to really kind of get hot and bothered about. But I think it's a combination of the style of beer and what was put into it and what's going on with it. I don't think it's not. It's not a matter of them not knowing what they're doing. They nailed the beer. They did the stout so well that they know what the fuck they're doing. It's more just kind of me just being the Belgian fucking nerd that I am and kind of just nitpicking the shit out of stuff. But yeah, more times than not, the stuff that I've had has been fantastic. This is nice. It's delicious. I like it. I enjoy it. It will definitely be drank. But let's put it this way: if I lived down there, or if I got more bottles of this, a couple years. I definitely said a couple years in this. And I think this will turn into something fantastic. But relatively straight out of the chute, for me, it's a little bit too young, a little bit too green to kind of show its true colors. And just for that, I let it sit. Let's talk about it. It's one of the better Belgian or Belgian-influenced doubles that I've had as of late. It actually probably would be in the conversation because I actually haven't had that many. We're just getting into the Christmas season where I'm probably going to start nailing off some Belgians, but the summer is brutal here, so I hadn't drank a ton of them. So it's probably in the conversation just for that point. Value and availability, I assume it's give or take around $17-20 a bottle. It's $7.50. It's American-born Belgium. That's what it's going to come off at. Brewery only, I assume. Maybe not. Someone can chime in. Maybe Ralph. And just say if you like you like this. If you like Belgian beers. Just to have this alone, just to grab it and drink it, to get a baseline about what American breweries are doing with Belgian beers. It'd be a fun thing if you find one aged. Again, their coating on the back is a little cryptic, but it looks like they're just breaking down day and then year on it somewhere. I assume the first numbers are days. I don't know. Last number I think is years, almost positive. It's probably actually day, batch number, and year number. That's what I'm assuming. But if you can find one that's aged, that's fantastic. But if you find a new one, just try it out. Just get a baseline and let one sit. What else? If you want to buy beer from breweries that are doing Belgian influence stuff, that's a key. There's not a lot of people do it well. So if you just want to keep these breweries that are doing these things in business, try it, man. Especially if you're into Belgians. Listen, if all you like is hops, if you're just a hop head and that's all you give a shit about, you have this beer, you probably hate it. Because hops are not the key to Belgian beers, I mean, there's an important part of it, but you're not getting what you'd expect from it. But if you're into kind of malt forward beers, Belgian forward beers, it's definitely worth checking out. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't, anywhere in between, down there, words and stuff and things. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Untapped, Massive Beers. All four of those places if you want to check this dude out somewhere else. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a nice American-born Belgian right now. And hopefully see you next time. Cheers.